Jesus, I'm back. All right, I'm hot. We're back with another episode, but first, the sponsors. Head over to www.johnbartoloshow.com. Go check out a complete list of the sponsors there. I'm going to rattle a few of them off. I want to thank specifically Enforce Weapon Lights, Blackwater Ammunition, Galco Leather Holsters, Sig Sauer. Go buy a Sig. Blow some shit up. Right On Optics, and of course, I got to give a special thanks to Pulsar. Thermal imaging technology is coming down in price. Go buy yourself a thermal. Make it easy on yourself. Hunt everybody at night. We got a special guest today I'm excited to have on because any of you who follows my show or listens to me, I love having the guys behind the curtain on the show. It's my favorite freaking thing to dive into. I had to get a man who locally is just murdering it. He's got one of the hottest new casinos out there he's working with. We got Richie Wilk from Circa. Did I say that right? Circa Resort and Casino.
You said it perfectly.
What does it mean?
Timeless.
Ooh.
You know, you think about it. The old school meets the new school, and we party.
Oh,
good
I
times. The only sports-themed hotel and casino probably in the world.
And you guys got balls of steel putting a casino right there on Fremont Street, right?
It's my owner, Derrick Stevens.
Fuck
That's the third one now. But this one he built from ground up.
Awesome.
I mean, just look at the pool deck. That
Sick.
pool deck outside.
Stadium swim.
Insane.
Murder.
It's an amphitheater outside by 6 pools that stay 94 degrees on the ground. You could swim in the winter.
You can drop a tea bag in there. That's the best. I love having guys like you on, and we were at the fights, and Bruce said to me, he goes, you got to go meet this guy. Bruce Cardenas said, you got to go meet this Uncle Bruce. And good luck to Uncle Bruce today. I know he's having a hospital visit. We got to keep an eye on Brucey. But, he said, you got to meet this guy. And I love guys that are mover and shakers behind the scene and getting stuff done. And we were rapping about this a little bit when you walked in. It's awesome to be pulling some of the levers and seeing what you're doing and putting some of the buzz around the hotel. I mean, I think you guys are murdering it.
It's great because no one's ever seen anything like this. My owner went on the PR before it opened and said, you're going to have wow moments. And, it's funny because no matter whether you're a celebrity, athlete, musician, or just anybody coming to town, if I walk you around, I tell them that. And guess what they do? They say, wow, at least 3 times. Even after I've told them. You walk out to Stadium Swim with a 143-foot screen, they're saying, wow.
Now, I want to talk to you about this because it's something I think my industry, every industry needs to pay attention. How important is experience for you?
Experience.
Somebody having a great experience in your building.
I think I've lived and been very successful giving those special kind of experiences because wherever I am, and I think that's what makes me very valuable. I help create buzz, but at the same time, that person that's coming to visit gets to experience it as well. You never know who I might have in, whether it's a celebrity, musician, athlete. You never know. I could have a billionaire standing there talking to me while you walk up. It was a big back in the day when I took care of the Sopranos. They came in all the time where I took care of them. And you could be walking up to me and meet James Gandolfini.
Amazing.
And you'd be meeting him as a friend, not as a fan. So then he talks to you and jokes with you, instead of being standoffish, not knowing who you are. Those experiences are priceless. And that's what I've done all my life. I've been here 26 years, 27 years in Vegas. So I've always learned how to do that.
Some people can't handle that, Rich. The part of the problem is I try to explain this to people with all the guests I've had on the show. It takes a certain kind of person to see the person. And it takes in training and developing your staff and the support team around you. That's what, I'm always analyzing. And I try to explain to folks when you're utilizing buzz and star power and developing people, it takes certain kind of folks to I always say, act like you've been in the end zone before, act like you've been there and kind of relax and let them come to you, let them ask the questions. Do you have to coach up some of your guys all the way down to the doorman, or do you feel like they're all prepared when you're putting in a program?
The beautiful thing about it is that I know how to do it, and I'm always there. I'm available to them. I'm hands-on, so I don't rely on anybody else. But I do need a team in the way of the people that work there to make things run smoothly. But you know what? That comes with whether they're a fan or whether they're getting tipped or anything like that. The funniest thing is that even back in the Hard Rock days, we had those SUVs. we'd be full all the time. They'd be scheduled to go out everywhere.
Every hour.
I walk up with one of my guys, Rich, whatever you need, you know, because they knew my guys took care of them. And that's a beautiful thing. You know, you guys, to bring up a past guest, you had Dana White. You know, nobody knows what Dana White is like.
Right.
But let me tell you something. He's the biggest George. We call big tippers George in the casino business. You know that. He's the biggest George. He tips like crazy. He'll come in and have dinner for all his fighters that might cost $6,000 or $10,000. He'll tip $6,000 of that to everybody that's working. He'll pick up the booths that he figured they were a little too loud. He'll take care of their meals. Nobody does that.
No one.
Nobody does that.
Yeah.
And what I love about him is that he never forgets where he came from. He had nothing.
We grew up about 30 miles apart.
Oh, that's awesome. So you know he grew up with nothing, built a huge successful business, and he never forgets. He takes a picture with every single person that asks.
Yeah, he does do that. He and I actually joked about it. Myself, him, Rogan, Bill Burr, and who am I missing? Jay Cutler, the bodybuilder. All Jay and I, all from the same area. Jay's right there. His office is right around the corner.
I've been to his office.
Yeah, his right around the corner. If you pulled out, took a right, you could see his car. If you see one of his Jewish old lady cars, you can go say hello.
One of the Rolls Royces.
Yeah, the G-Wagon or something. Like an old lady. But yeah, it's when you're developing a program and an experience, and that's something we spend a lot of time talking about in here, and I talk about a lot with brands, and Bruce and I have spent hours talking about it.
Bruce is a master.
Yeah, it's
and you are. Look at this place.
It's not easy. It's something that takes time, and it's a real trade craft. It really is. And you do need to have a little bit of a support system around you that understands that and understands where you're going. When did you feel you really mastered it? Was it around the Hard Rock years or before? Were you kind of in your head building out like what you wanted a Vegas experience to look like? Did you already have that mapped out?
You know, I'm from Canada originally. I'm from Toronto originally. So what's interesting about this whole thing with Bruce is that we're very similar. Back in the day, I had a security company or a team that protected people that came into Toronto for 6 years. And then when we weren't working, we were head of security for a big 2,000 capacity nightclub. And we supplied the security there and worked under an umbrella of a security company. Well, Bruce did that.
Yeah,
probably
for
still
years.
Does it for years.
Yeah,
Well, now he doesn't have to.
Yeah.
But we have that in common. We have that in common. And we're talking about some of the biggest names. My claim to fame that I put in a book that I wrote a long time ago was that my first gig in the United States was protecting the president, vice president of the United States, subcontracted out by Secret Service. Protected Bill Gates, the richest man in the world, for a couple of years, and protected Superman, which was Dean Cain, who came in one point in time when that show was huge. So it's kind of something to laugh about, but at the same time, if you Google Richard Wilk and Bill Clinton, you see a picture of us, which is funny. Pretty cool.
It is pretty cool.
And especially for my kids. You know, it doesn't matter you're Democrat or Republican. It doesn't matter. President of the United States is the president of the United States. You know, it's just there's a presence about them.
Sure.
And it was very interesting for that to be my first job in the United States, coming from Canada, from Toronto. So Bruce and I have a lot of stories. Did some of the biggest bands like the Rolling Stones, Bon Jovi, things like that when they came into town. It was a lot of fun. But I learned from that moment on how to create a relationship with these people.
Oh, it's so important.
And that's the biggest thing. So you create the relationship. Now they meet somebody that they can trust. And think about Vegas. Who do you trust in Vegas? You know?
100%.
And once they learned that I came to Vegas, that was it. I mean, I'll tell you a story real quick about Rihanna and Katy Perry. Rihanna wanted to throw Katy Perry's bachelorette party at the Hard Rock. So 2 months out, media is calling everywhere, trying to find out where they're going to have it. They were saying Disneyland, they're going to dress up as characters, whatever, right? Only me and my president of the hotel knew that they were coming to the Hard Rock. Night before, Russell Brand and her at the airport, that's when he got the up the skirt thing went on.
Yeah,
and got arrested. Well, he got out and then came on a private jet, came over to me.
Yeah.
And then they wanted to go eat at SW at Wynn.
Yeah, the Wynn.
I had to call the director of security, said, this is what's going on. Can you backdoor them? Yep, no problem. I didn't even know the guy at the time, but I told him who I was. No problem. Next day, he leaves. Rihanna flies in. They spend all day by the pool, go to a show at night, go to dinner at my place. And that was it. And they were gone. But they didn't have any paparazzi around anywhere. I never had that. You know, I used to compete with George Maloof all the time. He'd fly them in. But the thing about George was he'd have paparazzi waiting for them. And so did Robert Earl went with Planet Hollywood, so, but I never did that. Nobody knew they were coming. But the agreement was, before you left, take a couple pictures. I'll release it after you're gone.
Yeah.
So everybody knows that, if I go by the Hard Rock right now, am I going to see them? No. And that's something I've done always. And they wouldn't bring all their security. They'd maybe bring one guy because they know they had me there.
Yeah, the trust piece is huge.
Yes.
It is huge. We just did an event with the UFC. We had something like 30 or 40 fighters up at a range. And I told all the owners of the gun companies, I said, because you guys could fuck this all up. I said, you can't have 100 cameras in their faces. You can't whore them out.
Right.
There's a respectful way to do it. Yes, there's a media component. At this point in life, to everybody listening, accept that there's a media component. That's the trade. But at the same time, there's a respectful way to do it, and there's a right way to do it, and that trust is a fragile thing. And that's the coaching point with a lot of people that don't get that.
And that's where I've built a very successful kind of relationship with anybody who is famous, rich or famous, I say, because of the fact that you have that trust issue. You help control the narrative around when they come to Vegas, which is we see in the media is very
magnanimous.
Magnanimous
these days, to say the least. Yeah. I want to ask you a couple of fun questions, because I know some people in here be chomping at the bit to hear it. What are some ridiculous stories or requests, without names? What are some ridiculous stories or requests you have? Because I know you know where the bodies are, because you probably helped hide them. But tell me, I always ask, tell me a couple of ridiculous stories.
Well, crazy story. I'll tell you this.
Maybe the amount gambled on one hand that you've seen. I don't know.
Well, I've seen. People always ask, "What's the most you've ever seen, won or loss?" And I always say it's 1,000,000 won.
Yeah,
I've seen in a night, and I've seen it multiple times. And then I've seen it 3 weeks later, lost again from the same person. I've seen that. I've sat there with guys.
How do you console them? Is it like, hey, you want some eggs? Like, how do you
console them? Sometimes they want to blame you, but you have nothing to do with the cards. They realize the next day it's like
the
nothing
dealer,
happened.
go fuck yourself.
Yeah, but you know what? Okay, I'll tell you a funny story.
Give me a good one.
Rick Grislow, who used to own the Crazy Horse too.
You don't got to give a name.
No, he knows this story. He's fine. This story's awesome, and he's a great guy. So I have nothing to say bad about the guy. Full disclosure. But there was a girl that always dealt to him, sweetheart, right? And he would sometimes swear under his breath, but it would come out, and he'd always, honey, that wasn't towards you, and we know that. She knows that. She's cool about it.
Yeah.
So one day he said douchebag. He said douchebag, but he didn't direct it to her, nothing like that. He just said it. He said, honey, that wasn't towards you. It's the cards, and I'm saying it to the cards. So what I did, being the buzz guy and the guy that thinks ahead, I had a name tag made. Said douchebag. Right? So when she went on break, she came back with that name tag, and she was wearing it. So he didn't notice it. So I went behind. Finally, after it's been like, she's going to ready to go on break. It's already been an hour. She's going to go back on break, or 40 minutes. I went behind her. I'm going like this. I'm pointing to it, but I'm pointing it on me. He goes, what? What? You want me to look at her breasts? What? I said, no, look at her name tag. He goes, oh, that's awesome. Gives her a pound, gives her $3,000.
You made her feel at home.
Tipped her $3,000 just for having it.
Yeah.
So it was cool, and geez, that's a HR nightmare, right? But we're the Hard Rock. We did things like that.
And that's a great way of making what could be a heavy situation light.
Absolutely. But it also takes the dealer, being a female, to not worry about that, because she knows it's all in good humor, and we knew she was going to get tipped.
Yeah.
So she helped the whole property out, all the dealers out, for $3,000 extra that night.
And that's what it's all about, taking care of people. And I feel like that's becoming a lost art. So one of the things one of the things, we all talk about, like when people come in here as guests, you're my guest. You come in my studio. You're giving me an hour of your time. I know what an hour of your time or somebody of Dana's caliber is worth. And I respect that. And I wanted to set out to start something that there was an experience behind it. Like if you sent someone to me, because I only do shows on referral only. Everybody knows this. So I'll only have people in if you say this person's good. I want them to walk away and say, thank you for sending me to that.
I walked in the office and I went, wow, the studio's awesome. I mean, this is cool. You could spend hours in here just looking at everything.
Just hanging out.
Hanging out. I mean, it's cool. And I think that's another thing. Besides taking care of people in customer service these days and building an experience and relationship with people, those are all the keys that I think we do lose out, and I think it's because people don't get it. Yeah. Pencil pushers don't get it. The accountants don't get it.
Engineers don't get it.
Well,
We're gonna go there.
oh, don't go there. I can't comment. I can't say. I don't know.
Engineers
but
are the
that's why I
worst.
love working for Derrick Stevens, because he gets it. I have that level that I report to Derrick, or we talk every day, and he gets it. He gets what branding is all about. He knows what that buzz marketing does for a place. Listen, you can have your whole PR thing, your advertising, and that's cool. You can buy magazine stuff and everything. When I bring in a celebrity that has 1 million fans or more on their social media, or it's an actor or a musician, and they come and they stay and they have the best time and they have the best meal at Andiamo or Barry's, they go home and tell everybody.
Yeah.
That tells you everything about the service, tells you about the relationship, and then you build on that relationship, and all of a sudden I have the whole WWE.
Yeah.
Is that crazy?
That's right. Somebody said you had your fingers into that. Yeah. That is crazy. But you have it helps when you have great support, and you have great support in Barry's, probably one of the, if not the best steakhouse, one of the best steakhouses, hands down.
Definitely.
Not even close. I went to it. It was delicious. I loved going there. I had the opportunity to go there with two of my sponsors' birthday party. There might have been a Flavor Flav sighting at that party. I can neither confirm
There's
nor
always
deny.
a Flavor
I got an
Flav
interesting
sighting.
story about Flavor Flav.
Yeah, everyone does.
He hit
that's
me
true.
with his car.
Did he really?
Yeah, in a McDonald's.
He's
drive-thru.
allowed to drive?
He like straight up hit me with the car. We get out, and he walks out, big clock, everything. He's like, "Sorry, I hit your car, G."
I think he's cash only, if anyone's asking. But I had the opportunity to go there. It was a fantastic place, and I think having that type of room to maneuver, and also having the right support structure, puts you in a perfect position. And I can tell by your work, your smile, you're skipping your step. You guys have hit a stride and are going to kill it with this whole venture and creating this experience.
Well, I agree. Like Barry's, we joked around about saying it'd be a celebrity hotspot in like 6 months, and no, we did it within 90 days. Dennis Quaid came in December. He called me and said, "Rich, I want to come in. I haven't seen you forever. I'm shooting something with Pawn Stars." I said, "Well, wait a second. Pawn Stars are my guys too. Why don't I talk to Barry's? Let's shoot in at Barry's, and then we'll have dinner afterwards." Sounds great.
Done.
The producer, we did it. Done. Made it easy, and he went back to filming Reagan. Like it's that cool. But I had a lot of practice too, between my Hard Rock days. But then being at the D Casino Hotel, another property Derrick owns, being with him for, I was there for 7 years with him before Circa opened, 7.5. I had Andiamo. Now think about it. I'm bringing you downtown. You're going, where the hell are you taking me? Then you walk into the D. It's all renovated. Looks nice enough. Dancing dealers. A cool atmosphere. Then you put him in Andiamo. Italian steakhouse became the best in the city. And you never know who you might be eating beside. So I had a lot of practice just doing that. Think about it. I had a hotel and casino downtown, but I had the best restaurant.
Right.
Then reviews on TripAdvisor, everything. Then we go to Barry's. Now I have that old 9 atmosphere that they used to work with.
Right.
Now I can build it better. Because they own it, and they have my owner behind them. So between the combination of that, made it great.
It's a great recipe.
Now I got private rooms too. We just they just became the sponsor, the steakhouse, the only steakhouse sponsor of the Vegas Golden Knights.
That's awesome.
And we just had 16 of them after the Fan Fest in there. So it was great.
Isn't it funny sometimes when you're working with owners or people that don't get that? Like, I try to explain to them, I do it like this. I always say this, Richard. I say, you're spending the money anyway. Whether you're in love with buying an ad in the local paper, or you're in whatever your love is for how you get press. Some of the old timers, they love billboards, they love this stuff, they love that stuff. You're just talking about, and when you're trying to teach them this, and you don't have to go through this now, thank God, but when you're working your way up the rung, a lot of people do, and they're going to look for advice for guys like you, how you have the conversation. I think it starts with explaining to them you're spending the money anyway. We're just talking about reallocating a little piece to create this great experience that if it hits with these folks, with these players, with these influential individuals, it can be a home run. It can be an absolute home. This is your swing for the fence if you want it to be.
Well, think about it. If I get you 100 million eyeballs on something that comes out of your property, I just saved you probably 4 or 5 million worth of free advertising. That's not me. That's Coca-Cola says that, right? You Super Bowl's 120 million people. Cost you what, 5-7 million for a 30-second ad? That's them giving you that equation. I'm making it up. So even if I go 2.5%, forget the 5% because the accountant's going to, yeah, sure. Let's go 2.5%. I do this with my owner, and I had to in the beginning too. And I show them. if I get you 100 million people seeing this, that's pretty incredible. Because all it cost me was that dinner, limo, maybe a room here and there. What's that? It's not $4 million, right? That's the difference. So, and your return on investment is all the people that are going to come because they don't know who they might see when they come. That's how the Hard Rock and Palms did it for years. And I was part of that. When I left, you didn't hear about it too much. That's not tooting my own horn. I'm just saying, nobody does what I do, which keeps me valuable. And I only work for owners and stuff.
And it's a unique skill set. Not everybody can do it. I know Bruce has been on here and he said, find me at a show, follow me around, pack your bags and come with me. It's a little Gary V wisdom in that, but he's not wrong. There's not a lot of people willing. It takes a unique skill set, like a security background. Maybe you were an executive at a lot of these brands and you met a lot of the right people. Like when I started the podcast, a lot of people said, you talk to a lot of cool people. Why don't you record the conversations? I said, that's called wiretapping. We're not going to do wiretapping. But what I can do, it got me thinking, I could start a show and I could put these people on because I'm like, damn, this is kind of cool. I'm having I have these cool conversations. But again, it takes a certain background, a certain skill set. It's very hard. You got to be well traveled too. You got to have your legs underneath you. You can't just dive in. But are you like Bruce, where you're like, if you want to learn this, pack a bag and follow me around? Or
no, because you know what? I'm too busy. You're too busy to do that these days. I used to tell my mother, stop sending me people to say hi to me.
Yeah,
because I know you're proud of me, but if they're no value to me,
it's too hard.
Taking me away from something that I'm too busy.
Yeah.
And I love it. I love being busy and I love meeting people because right now, I did a documentary back in 2006 with Louis Theroux back in the UK. And I did it here at the Hilton when it was there. And for me, that just catapulted me out there. And every time somebody from the UK came in, hey, you're Richard, can I get a picture? And it was kind of weird, but it was fun. I got to meet a lot of people. Then I got into the YouTube stuff where a lot of these YouTubers now with slots and everything, they want to film themselves. So they got me on YouTube. And from there, I let YouTubers come in and film. Who lets them do that? I was one of the first with Brian Christopher, stuff like that. I knew how to work it. He had 100,000 subscribers. Now he has 300, 400, So that's all branding. That all helps. And guess what? They got to spend money in the machine to film themselves. That is a no-brainer. But marketing people don't get it.
Yeah.
Or accountants don't get it. Or executives don't get it.
I would say the people that pretend they're marketing people, but they're really ad buy guys, those guys don't get it.
Right.
The writers are coming around. The writers are getting it. Their place where they're fit, the bloggers and writers, they're starting to, I said it, blogging and writing's had a resurgence with COVID.
I agree.
And I think that there's a place for it, and this is something we talk a lot about on here. I think that there's a place for it, but it's almost like a kid that touched a hot pot. You know what I mean? They realized, okay, we can't sell a magazine space for $5,000 anymore. Those days are over. We have to do it this way. So the magazine writers are starting to get, a little more, okay, with the time. We understand that, and they're understanding their place. But writers for a while were the toughest to figure out.
Listen, I love bloggers and bloggers. Listen, if you want to write something and you want to make it cool and you got some kind of audience, why not include somebody that's cool, fun, they're doing something? The biggest thing is people like to live vicariously through what we do. Whether it's you, me, people working in Las Vegas, because they go back to their pencil-pushing jobs, with nothing wrong with that, working their 9 to 5, but they live vicariously through their last Las Vegas trip or their next one coming up.
Because they think we say this all the time, they think we all live butt naked on the strip.
You're damn right.
They think, literally, am I lying? They think it's butt naked on the strip all day. When they come here, they're like, where are we going tonight? And I'm like, I live here, motherfucker.
The last place I want to go is down there.
Oh, God. That's the truth.
We can go to dinner, but that's about it.
And that's it, and I stay, somewhere around Barry's or the Wynn or the Trump, because that's that's the area I feel comfortable with.
You have your
going
favorites
to.
too, though.
Yeah, my favorites.
And you know what's good. You know what's good. You know where you're comfortable, and that's a big deal. You just said it. People go to the places they feel comfortable, where they're going to be taken care of, and that's a big deal. And that's what I try to help them get a little bit closer to knowing what they like.
What's the craziest? I have to know this before we get too long in the tooth. What's the craziest request you've ever had? Someone coming in.
Somebody wanted a goat. Bunch of guys at a villa, not even my casino.
I don't want to know why.
What? Not even at my casino. I can tell this because it's actually clean. It's not that bad, but
it's clean. It's a clean story. I gotta get another. I need a Coke. Hold on. Go ahead.
They were at a villa. here in Las Vegas at a big casino. And what ended up happening was they were having a bachelor party, guys and girls and everything. And he wanted to replicate. They wanted to replicate that old movie with Tom Hanks, Bachelor Party.
Right.
But they didn't think they could get a donkey in there because the donkey was, of course, too big. So they said, Rich, can you get a goat? Now, I said, are you kidding me? I said, I love animals. I ain't getting you a goat.
A goat.
I probably could have got him a goat because I usually could get anything. But there was no way in hell I was getting him a goat. And that's what they wanted to do, was replicate that movie. They didn't want to do anything to the goat. And, well, you never know with some of the drugs.
Yeah, somebody might be listening. What did you do to the goat? Where is it? The goat
no,
safe.
I didn't get him a goat, and I would never do anything like that anyways. So that was a crazy request I got one night.
That is crazy. A goat. I can't beat that. I've never seen that level of crazy. Besides
didn't get crazy, but
besides the goat as a request, without naming a name, what's the craziest thing that's happened? That actually happened. Because the goat request is good. I can't beat that.
That happened. Jeez.
Somebody swan dive off the first floor, think they could fly.
Oh, you always had people thinking they could go
fly.
balcony to balcony, and it wasn't even a balcony. Remember at the Hard Rock in the old tower, you just had those rails that you open up your thing. They created a little level that you could actually walk on. So people thought it was fun to walk on. Did anybody fall? Not while I was there, but
none of my watch.
The guy thought the girl was cute next door, so he would walk out there and surprise her.
They call that stalking.
Yeah, well, you imagine if she screamed and pushed him, and he'd be done. So, but yeah, a little crazy. We used to have that. We were sitting out. There was something crazy that kind of happened when we were out at one of the concerts out by the pool at Hard Rock back in the day, and one of our vice presidents, a female, she was awesome. We're standing there, and Rick Rislow would get a cabana out there, and it was cool. And all of a sudden, he's pointing upstairs, and he's laughing at one of the windows. I said, what are you laughing at? He goes, look. And there was a girl just acting like she was just standing there, but you saw her moving. And I'm like,
oh, yeah.
oh, boy. And then Christine, and our vice president, goes, Rich, call security, get them to stop, please. So I'm on the phone with security, stop, and all you could see was her go like just, I wish I could show you, but she kind of just moved back in the same direction,
right,
backwards without moving.
Right.
So it was just kind of funny, but I mean, we didn't kick them out or anything. They were just trying to create a Vegas moment.
I think that stuff is hilarious, and I think some of those old time stories. But see, that was the old days. Some of those days, even the Hard Rock days, you could still get away with a lot. Like now, you could run down the hall and say, "Get the shredder," and everything was fine. You know what I'm saying? But now everything's recorded. Everybody's a fucking liable for sneezing. So
everybody wants to pull out their phone and get something. They think they can sell it somewhere. That's why.
Yeah.
Or put it on their YouTube or something. It's crazy.
It's been disgusting. How have you guys dealt with COVID? I mean, Dana has been phenomenal through COVID. Did you get all the troops together and say, we're going to plow forward? Because you guys opened right in the belly of the beast.
Look at it. We did open right in the belly of the beast. We opened, my owner, you're opening over $1 billion place during COVID. And you know what? It worked because we were able to abide by all the restrictions. We were able to do everything we needed to do. And then all of a sudden, we opened. And it was like, wow, people had a place to go. And because it was new, everybody wanted us to check it out.
Right.
So it worked, and it's still working. But the biggest thing we did was made it 21 plus. Everybody on social went nuts and loved it. No negativity at all. So the beautiful thing is 21 plus. You come in, you don't see baby carriages, you don't see babies, you don't see kids. It's your chance to get away from all that.
Right.
You've got that at home. You're good parents. That's fine. When you come to Vegas, you don't want to see that. So you come to Circa, you don't see it.
Right.
You party. You got dancing dealers after 7 o'clock on the dealing to you. You got guys flaring behind the bars. You got sports everywhere. What's not to like?
Yeah.
It's a party atmosphere just in the casino alone.
It's a safe haven.
Very.
Yeah.
Especially if I'm taking care of you.
Amen. Amen to that. I think guys like you, Bruce, certain folks around the industry, that whole experience and pedigree that comes along with it. We talked about this earlier. I think it's such a dying art, and it's very hard to teach, and it's very hard to do. And when I started this podcast, I just felt like the art of the conversation was dying, and people they want to be here, tip tap typing away. And I feel like that's something that people, when you go that route, you just lose that bond. You know, you and I walk away from this, and for better or worse, we've had a 1-hour conversation together. And I think people don't do that enough.
I agree.
Why is that? Why is that dying? Why is the art of the handshake, looking someone in the eye, why is that so hard to keep alive? Is it just social media, or is it a little bit of people's unwillingness to engage and open themselves up a little bit?
I think it's that. I think that plays a big part in it, because especially with COVID and this pandemic, it's keeping people hidden from other people, you know, and the biggest thing is that we've always had disease. We've always had something out there. Flu, when you're sick and you shake
Spanish
hands
flu,
with somebody,
smallpox,
anything, you still were picking up germs. You know, people don't realize you're touching that escalator going up. You're hitting thousands of germs.
Thousands.
You know, and you're not washing your hands. You forget to or something, you know. So we always had that. But now it's in everybody's mind. Oh, I'm scared of this. I'm scared of that. You know, I'm scared for my health. It's like, you got to live. You got to live. You got to talk to people, you know. And the biggest thing is that all these people now that had insecurities have bigger insecurities now. And a lot of people have insecurities, you know, and that, I think that's a big deal. I think that's why they're not talking. It's not that they don't want to. It's that they're scared to. And that's something that now across the world, everybody's getting into, that they're scared to talk to people.
I mean, look at Australia.
Oh, I don't even know what the hell's going on there. That's
It's a
crazy.
disaster.
Oh, it's nuts.
They're
But
getting beat up for not wearing masks.
They got a death toll now. People that died in riots. I mean, it's getting crazy there. I think all power corrupts, but absolute power corrupts absolutely. I've said that 100 times, and I think without it getting political, let me put it this way. I think we've reached a point where people just need to say, listen, you want to wear a mask, wear a mask. You don't want to wear a mask, don't wear a mask.
right.
Okay? As far as the mandates go and the legality of it amongst states and venues and everything else, and I know, you know, there's policy, but I think we just have to get to a place where it's like, okay, and the inquisition or the questioning needs to calm down. I think everybody needs to just be okay with everybody's position. But that's something that, again, comes from the art of conversation. Hey, listen, I chose this. This is the decision that's best for me and my family. Thank you. I appreciate, you know, your support. But, you know, and I feel like people can't, because they can't have a conversation, they can't articulate themselves. And I feel like that's something that, you know, I don't think that if you want to wear a mask, wear a mask. I don't think that's the end of the world. I'm not going to sit here and tell someone, okay. But we've reached a point where it's like people are like, what's next? You know, we're going to wear it in the car? I got to wear it when I go to the bathroom? You know, it's not covering your nose, sir.
Yeah.
It's
It's getting a little crazy. I agree. I think it should be your decision to wear a mask or not. And I've always felt that way because, listen, it's my body, it's my health that I'm taking into consideration, you know. And the biggest thing with that is that, you know, if you're worried about something, you're going to take precautions. You're going to do it yourself. And I've got kids, you know, and I've got a boy that plays, he's an athlete, you know, and that's a big deal. You ever go into the gym and try wearing a mask while you're working out?
It's a nightmare.
I'm breathing in my own expelled air. Ask Jay Cutler. That's not healthy.
It's not
you know
healthy at all.
what I mean?
Yeah, he won't do that.
So it's something that you have to look at. But, I mean, this is the new norm, it seems like. It's crazy. It shouldn't be the new norm.
Right.
But, listen, everybody has their own opinion. I look at it as this. And what it's doing, it's dividing a lot of us. And that's terrible. And just respect my opinion. I'll respect yours. And we're friends. That's all that matters.
I think it's really important to get, for restaurateurs, for casinos, for everybody, to get to a place of comfort with how they're going to run their experience, but also respect that. And I think that some people feel that when they get that power, they feel like it's there. They need to impose that. They need to use that as a tool to say, hey, you know, you need to do this or you need to do that. And I think that's where it becomes dangerous. It just, you know, the whole mandate thing, everything that's gone on in and around the casinos that you've dealt with. I think we all agree. It's like, come out with a policy and let's stand by that. And let's go with that. But don't be wishy-washy. You know, this all started, as we all remember, with 2 weeks.
Yeah.
This all started with 2 weeks, as crazy as it is.
Yeah.
You know, I'm actually texting Jay now. I'm going to say, come by.
You're never gonna listen. Power. We all love a little bit of power here and there. We all do. Some of us more than others. But You're never going to fix that, unfortunately.
No, everybody
It's
who
never
has,
gonna
I
fix.
say it all the time, everybody who has money wants influence and fame. Everyone who has influence and fame wants money. Everyone who has influence wants fame or money.
Sure.
That's how it works. That's
way
the
it
cycle.
works. I've taken care of, listen, I have billionaires I take care of. I have millionaires. I have guys that don't have a lot of money that are friends. You know,
Yeah.
like, you take care of all walks of life. And that's what I do. And I see it, the experiences everybody has in their own life, their daily lives, and what they deal with. You
And
know?
what gets harder when you're in that business of taking care of people is everybody thinks you could take care of everyone, and you have to understand that there's a way to do it, and you can't do it all the time. It can't be everybody, and that's a hard thing sometimes. I've talked to a lot of guys in great positions, Bruce being one of them, Hans at Mullenkamp at Monster, all
Hans,
those
yeah.
guys. People don't realize, like, they're in a tough spot. In many ways, they're in a tough spot, some of these guys. And everybody's on their case. I mean, Bruce had one of the most powerful brands behind him in all fitness. If you were in fitness, you knew who he was. There was no question about it, because Quest was the holy grail. It was like, once you were sponsored by them, that was it. But I think people don't understand it. You have to also be accountable at that level too. And there's a certain piece that goes with that.
You're always accountable.
Mm-hmm.
You know, look, I forget about politics when it comes to working in this business. I tell a lot of people, don't pick sides if you're in business. You can't.
You got to be Switzerland.
Listen, I take care of everybody. I protected Bill Clinton and Al Gore, President, Vice President of the United States. You know, I've done that. But if I was to meet, and I took care of Donald Trump, President Trump, when he was 2010 coming to the Hard Rock. You know, he treated me very well, you know, and he was very nice to me. He didn't have to be, but I went out of my way to make something happen, gave him an experience.
Yeah.
And he shook my hand and said, you know what you're doing. You know?
Uncle Don's the best.
And people ask me, it's in my opinion, he was a nice guy to me. I can't say anything bad about him. And Dana's the same way, because we've had experiences with him. You know, I met a lot of politicians in Washington when I was protecting them. You know, they were very nice, whether Democrat or Republican, didn't matter to me.
Right.
You know, I was doing a job, and I got to meet them personally. When you meet a lot of people personally, they're not what they portray in the media. They're not portrayed in the TV. You know, you see a lot of celebrities, they're shy in public, you know, or they hate crowds. You know, so some baseball players I know, professional, they don't like crowds.
Yeah, I hate people.
Oh yeah, I can tell. Yeah,
I hate fucking people. I did. You know what it is with me? I can only take people in doses. Like one-on-one, I'm fine. And when I'm in a group or I'm at an event or I'm at something, I can't take like the mob mentality of, like, you know, everybody gets on a topic and it becomes like a thing. And I can't listen sometimes to some people. It just starts to aggravate me and my blood starts to boil and I get weird. But that's me my whole life. I love conversations. I hate people, if that makes sense. Does that make sense? Does anyone out there think I'm crazy?
You
Does
gotta
that,
change it
from
to
crazy
hate
comment?
crowds.
Yeah.
Because you like people, because your personality shows that you like people. You get along with people.
You think I get along with people?
Well, what I could see, and I just met you a few weeks ago, so it's, you know, it's your personality comes across and it's cool. And then you show up here and you go, wow, you are cool.
This is fucking cool.
This is cool.
It is cool.
This is really cool.
And that was the whole idea. I mean, I wanted to have a fun atmosphere, and, you know, I didn't want to make it like Burger King where the stools were hard and people were, you know, enticed to leave. You know, I had a guy, you know, years ago when I worked, I heard the best thing ever. I worked in a restaurant in Boston. He said, "We do good food fast here, John, not fast food." So I was like, okay. Yeah, I was like, all right.
Point, yeah.
And he
That's
said, go
actually
out there and tell whoever's sitting out there complaining. If they want, they can go to McDonald's.
Well, we have something like that. We have Saginaw's, and Saginaw's is like a deli, a Jewish deli kind of thing, right?
I got to go there.
I'll tell you, it's made to order. So some people started coming and say, it's taking too long. No, everything's made to order. That's
Right.
why. You want something fresh and good. So it's pretty cool. So yeah, people don't think that way.
Yeah, are you seeing, you know, Vegas? I want to ask you this before we wrap. Are you seeing Vegas open up and people are starting to come? Because I'm seeing it. Are you seeing kind of the walls come down and people are starting to travel again?
We did. As soon as the masks went away, we were busy again. It was busy. It was packed. As soon as the masks came back, yeah, it slowed down. We had cancellations, not as many as the Strip. I mean, we still sell out on weekends, so it's, if you're going to book at Circa, you got to book early. During the week is good, but we have that atmosphere. We have the newest place. We have the hottest new place, you know, and that's a big deal. So people all want to come see that.
100%.
But with the masks, you know, you got a problem because when you're Jersey, New York, Florida, you're in a lot of states that you're not wearing a mask. You're asking people to put on a mask when they come here, though. So they don't want to come. They want to wait till the masks are done. And I wish we would do something more about that, because businesses are hurting for that.
Yeah.
You know, just do something more. But the mask people are hurting. And that's something that Vegas showed. We showed that. So once the masks go away, I guarantee you Vegas will be packed again.
I hope so.
Well, everybody needs to escape. We were always everybody's escape. Remember, we're the place that you come and do whatever you want, wear whatever you want, that you wouldn't be caught dead in back home.
Mm-hmm.
And then you go back to your lives, your daily lives, and you live vicariously, like we said earlier. You live vicariously through what you did in Vegas. And it gets you through. It gets you through your daily routine, because Vegas is definitely not routine.
No, it
Never
does
is.
everything but. Have you ever kind of looked at the Strip, and did you guys look at the Strip and did you say it's what made the decision down on Fremont Street so easy? Was it just the real estate, or were you like, we want to do something special and we want it to be over here?
Well, look, if you look at the Strip, you have a lot of competition on the Strip. You got a lot of people visiting the Strip, but out of that 45 million people that come a year, over half of it, and it's been proven by fact, comes down to Fremont Street.
Right.
Fremont Street is something else now. It's not old. I hate when people say old Vegas. It's not old Vegas. You got the biggest TV in the world,
Yeah.
4 or 5 football fields long above you on Fremont
crazy.
Street. It's crazy, and it's awesome. The visuals are incredible. You come down, you got bands every night playing on the
Naked nuns, everything.
Naked nuns.
The naked nun.
But now, when you put Circa, what I love about it, when you're driving in and coming downtown, it looks like something out of a Marvel movie with Tony Stark's building.
Yeah, it's crazy.
We're the tallest building down there. We're cool. We're hip. I mean, it's just, I got to go there. And if you put that on the Strip, it just blends in more.
Right.
You know, you got a lot of great stuff on the Strip. But you're going to come down. And now that we say half of that comes down, I guarantee you probably another 10 million people come downtown just to see Circa.
I hope so.
I think so, because you got to see the newest things out there. I know I did growing up. You know, I wanted to see the newest stuff when I came back to Vegas. And you want that experience.
I think it's amazing, and I think you guys opening at the time that you did is amazing, and I think that's an understated story. In the middle of all COVID, this guy, just like some of these other guys out there, like Dana, you know, rallied the troops and said, we're going forward, and fuck it, you know. And sometimes you got to say that, you know, sometimes you just got to go out there and sling it, and that's what you guys did. And I admire that, and that's a story I want to keep talking about. And I love seeing that stuff, and I love seeing guys like you creating these experiences, because there's a lot I can learn from that. And I appreciate everything that guys like you, guys like Bruce, even guys like Hans, certain people do in the business, and I understand it, and I totally respect it. So
no, it's a huge compliment coming from you, because you met a lot of different people in all walks of life. And for me to hear that from you and meeting you, that's awesome. And thanks even for inviting me on this. I mean, this is awesome. You get to talk to people.
you're the star. I love
have to
this
write
shit.
about it, you know. I get to, you know, if you want, if you don't mind, follow me on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
Follow just Richard Wilk on Instagram, and send me a message that you heard the show, because I'll tell you what, on my Instagram, you show all these different people coming in.
Well, the
I get
boys
to.
in here are sharing all your links, so
that's awesome.
everybody get out there and go check out the links. Go check out. I know that Eric, you shared Richie's Twitter and a bunch of other stuff. So go give a follow, whether you're active on Twitter or active on Instagram. Go check out Richard Wilk. If you're coming to Vegas, carefully slide into the DM. Make sure you got about $5 million ready to spend, right? I mean, at least that, right? You got to be a
5,000 works even.
What do you if someone's gonna slide in the DM? What do they have to have for a bankroll?
If they want to come gamble, you know.
What's the threshold to get a guy like you to fucking pay attention?
Well, it's not
20 grand. The kitty.
If they come in and play, and
A marker.
they're coming in and spending $5,000, putting it across the tables or in the slots. I'll take care of them still. I'll still have it. I always do. You know, I still have my guys call me every once in a while that say they want to come in. They're only $5,000-$10,000 guys.
So
I don't
listen,
care.
everybody listening, if you reach out to Rich, whether it's on Instagram or Twitter, slide into the DM. Your first message needs to be, "I'm willing to put 10,000 on the, and I'm willing to put 10,000 of glimmer." Just send a picture of a brick. Just send a picture of a brick. That's the only way.
Listen, stop by Circa. Even if you see me on the floor, say hi, and that's even good.
That's perfect.
That's awesome.
Let everybody know where they can find you, how they can reach you, and plug Circa, where they can reach that.
Yeah, well, Richard Wilk on Instagram and Twitter. You can find me. I'm on Instagram all the time. I'm sharing the people that are coming in. You see some of your favorite celebrities. Hit me up, follow me. You'll see who's coming into Circa. This is not a lot of bullshit here. This is what's happening in Vegas, and you'll be able to see it. You may read it in the news, you may see it in the press, but you're going to see it better on my Instagram. And I interact with people on there, so that's a big deal.
Yeah, it's turning into like a who's who. It's like a Bruce Cardenas page. I love
Cool,
that
though.
shit. It is
Bruce
fucking
awesome.
cool.
He's a little older than me, so he's got me by 3 years.
He's got all those old time photos of him and like
Arnold and
fucking
Sly
Arnold, and he's got a great one of the Candyman, Sammy Davis Jr. Yeah, he's got some fucking cool pictures.
That's
I'll
the
tell you
coolest
what.
part about being in Vegas, because you get to see some of these old school. Look at John Orlando with his father, Tony Orlando.
Tony Orlando.
I was 8 years old when I was watching him with my father. You know, isn't that crazy? Now John's one of my closest friends. I mean, it's just crazy. You have
nuts.
people like that, and you get to Don Rickles I ran into with, back in the day.
That's
and
amazing.
It's crazy. And Rich Little
Yeah.
with Gordy Brown. I met him. I mean, it was like crazy. Like, I was a kid when I watched these people.
I love that.
But that's what Vegas gives you that opportunity to see people. We forget. This is the biggest thing. We forget the rest of the world. You can live in Idaho. You can live in Europe. You can live somewhere where you'll never see a celebrity.
I love that.
But here you get a chance to see somebody you may watch on TV, see in the movies, see on YouTube, which is awesome.
Yeah, and if you ever get to the fights, you'll see a lot more of them too.
See a lot of them. I
Yeah.
just had a great chat with Mel Gibson back in Dana's room.
Yeah, hanging in the
second time,
stands.
third
Yeah.
time I got to meet him, and you just talking to him like he's normal, and I think they appreciate that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Listen, I want to thank everybody. I want to thank Rich for stopping in. I truly, truly appreciate it. I'll probably see him at Barry soon enough. Now I'm going to have to get a steak. But head down to Circa and go check out the links. I know, Eric, shout out to you guys. Shout out to Biggles. Shout out to everybody who gave a super chat. I appreciate you guys. I appreciate everybody. I want to shout out a couple of the sponsors. I have to thank them now. SIG's Hour. Go buy a SIG. Pulsar Thermal Imaging Technology. Blackwater Ammunition. Enforce Weapon Lights. Right On Optics. Volquartsen Firearms. Kenzie's Optics. Go to Kenzie's. Go check them out. Go buy some stuff. And Legion Targets. Shout out to Legion Targets and those guys. Appreciate them. And thank you, Rich, for coming in. I appreciate it. Promise me you'll come back.
Oh, if you invite me back.
Of course.
I'm here. I got to see this studio more often.
Oh, come by. Of course.
I love it.
All right, everybody. Go like, share, and leave a review. And go check out Rich's stuff. If you're coming to Vegas, like I said, Flash Cash. He's looking for original photos, real time. 10 stacks. We're out.